514 days ago, I started investing $5 a day into Vanguard's VOO. And in today's video, we're going to be taking a look at how that investment has been performing for me. Guys, I love making these videos, and every time I make them, there's often someone that leaves a comment that says, hey man, investing $5 a day is not going to make you rich. It's not going to make a difference. So I don't even know why you're even taking this approach. And I always respond to them that you're absolutely correct. You're 100% spot on that investing $5 a day is not going to make you rich. But guess what it is going to do? It's going to show you that you can get started by investing small amounts of money into the stock market. And then secondly, you're going to be building that investment habit. I can't tell you, when I first started investing in the stock market and I started to see some gains over time, I then started to think, well, hey, if I go to lunch one day a week with my coworkers instead of going 4, then I have much more money that I can then use to invest in the market or use for whatever else I wanted. But it almost became kind of like a game after a while. You start to see those numbers go up, and then you start to look for new ways to find money to invest into your portfolio. If that has ever happened to any of you guys that are watching this video, leave a comment down below. Let me know, especially if you started investing over the past year or so and you start to see some movement in your portfolio. And then you start to think, you know what? I'm going to use some money from these other things that I don't need to invest. Now, speaking of building a habit, if you haven't had an opportunity to check out a book called Atomic Habits, I highly suggest that you check that out. It's a phenomenal book. I'm not a fan of sitting down and reading, so if you have an audiobook subscription, make sure you download Atomic Habits, listen to it while you're driving to work, while you're cleaning your house, while you're working out, while you're taking a walk, whatever. But this book is great because it shows you how bad habits are formed, and more importantly, how to turn bad habits into good habits. And guys, just a reminder that we started our brand new $5 a day investment challenge on January 1st of 2026. So if you haven't had an opportunity to jump into that challenge yet, there's still plenty of time to do that before the month of January is over. Look, the time is going to pass anyway. So you can either go through 2026 the same way that you always have, or you can make a change now. And by the time we get to January of 2027, you'll have a different financial outlook, especially if you stay consistent. All right, let's go ahead and jump in. Let's take a look at how VOO has been performing for me over the last 514 days. So right now I'm taking a look at my investment portfolio in Webull. And at the very top, you can see that I have an open P&L of $515.61, and I'm up 19.82% in this investment over the last 514 days. And then you'll see on the day, the P&L is 0%. I'm filming this video on a Saturday, so the market is closed and there's no movement in the market. So that's why the daily P&L is at 0%. And then I have a market value of $3,116.99. And I have a total cost of $2,601.38. I have an average price $530.87, and I have a quantity of 4.9 shares of VOO. As you guys know, VOO is not a cheap investment, but over the last 514 days, I almost have 5 full shares of this investment. And VOO currently makes up 34.67% of my portfolio. At the top of the year, when we started our brand new $5 a day investment challenge, I started investing in VTI. So I'm curious to see how that investment is going to change the position ratio in my portfolio over time. And then the last price that I was able to purchase VOO at was $636.09. So over the last 514 days, all I've done is invest and chill, and I'm up $515 and almost 20% in my overall investment. And I haven't added any additional money to this particular investment. So just think about the person that got started 514 days ago with just $5 every single day. They've made adjustments to their budget and they were able to increase their investment in VOO or whatever they're investing in over that time frame. their P&L would be much higher than mine is. So just kind of keep that in mind when you hear people say that investing small amounts of money don't matter, because it does. All right, let's take a look at this screen right here. So VOO closed yesterday at $636.09. And if you take a look to the top right corner of my screen here, you'll see that the high on the day was $638.51 and the low was $634.68. So it traded in a decently tight band. And then we opened on the day at $637.96. All right, and if you take a look at the middle column here, we have a 52-week high of $640.16. So we're trading right near the 52-week high. So I'm curious to see if we can get back up to that number and if we can actually get above the 52-week high. And then right below that, we had a 52-week low of $438.94. All right, right here is a monthly candlestick chart for VOO. I'll often either review a monthly chart with you guys or a yearly chart. If we're taking a look at buying opportunities and buying zones, I'll typically start at a year chart and then work my way down. But for the purposes of this video, we're going to take a look at the monthly chart, and you can see how it's moved over the past several months here on the chart, where we had some movement to the upside and then we had a little dip. And then as you can see, other than the pullback last March, whenever the Trump administration put tariffs in place, we have seen steady upside in this investment. Why is this important? Well, it's important because if you would have started investing at any point in time prior to today, your investment in VOO would have been moving to the upside. Now, that's not always the case, but that's why I always say you can't time the market, and being in the market is superior than trying to time the market. But I like the overall direction that VOO is heading, and I'm curious to see, will this momentum to the upside continue? All right, I'll quickly address dividends received for this investment. So the last dividend that I received was on December 25th of 2025 in the amount of $8.40. And since I started investing in this position 514 days ago, I have received a total of $38.73 in dividends. All of that money has simply just been reinvested back into my position, and I did not take any of that money out of my account. So not a lot of money when it comes to dividend payouts, but that's not the focus of my investment in VOO. All right, now we're gonna take a quick look at some of the comments that you guys left on my last VOO update video. You guys know I love receiving comments from you guys. I try to respond to every single comment that is left on all of my videos. It may take me a little bit of time, but I try to get to each and every one of those. So the very first comment right here that I'll read is, I also started investing this summer ever since I found your channel. Thank you. I appreciate all the videos you upload. Simplicity. Guys, that's where I came up with Invest and Chill. There are people out there that just want to invest and they don't want to watch the stock market every single day. They don't want to have CNBC on in the background like I do. They don't want to go in and chart the stock market every single day like I do. And that's absolutely fine. And there's a way to invest and chill and get to the bag. And being able to invest in index funds and ETFs is absolutely the way to go, especially when you're a new investor. And if you're also an investor that's not looking to watch the market every single day, you just want to invest, get a nice return, and go about your day. So shout out to you for getting into the stock market. And if you're watching this video, leave a comment. Let me know, are you staying consistent and how is your investment going to this point? All right, the next comment that I'll read is, what's up, people? First time here, been in the market off and on since 2020. I'm 60 and just now putting everything together. I just started a portfolio with VOO, VOOG, VGU, and SPMO. Love to hear that. So you were in the market before, you didn't stay consistent, but you didn't get discouraged. And now you're back in, you have a portfolio that you started. And more importantly, you have a portfolio that includes funds that work specifically for you. Oftentimes, we'll either wait around for somebody to tell us what to invest in, or we'll take someone's advice and not do our own research and due diligence. And that portfolio may work for them, but it doesn't work for you. So I appreciate the comment. I appreciate that you went out, you picked the investments that work for you. Make sure you stay consistent. I think that you will this time. Let me know how you're doing if you're watching this video. And then the last comment that I'll read here is, and if you had invested $2,450 on day one and let it grow for 490 days, you'd have more money. Absolutely correct. If I knew that the market was going to move to the upside like it has, especially in VOO, I would have invested everything I had at that point and I'd be up much more. But guess what? We cannot time the market. And the way that I would respond to this comment is if I had invested everything up front and then we ended up having a recession and a market pullback, I would be down a tremendous amount of money. And you'd be leaving a comment on my video telling me I should have never advised people to invest all their money up front, and that's not the way to go. See, that's why I always tell you guys, man, invest and chill is the way to go. Don't try to time the market. Budget every single month. Make sure you keep enough money in your budget to account for investing, and use that and treat it like it's any other bill that you have. You have a mortgage or rent or a car payment. Now you have investing in your budget, and that's what you use every single month, regardless, because we can't time the market. We're just looking to be in the market. All right, so that's my 514-day update of my investment in VOO. One of the game changers for this portfolio was setting up automatic investment. So every time I get paid, I have a certain amount of money that goes from my checking account into my Webull account, and then I have a reoccurring investment set up for each one of the investments inside of this portfolio. I never go into that portfolio, guys. I honestly only go into them as I'm giving you guys these updates, because to me, that's the ultimate invest and chill. I know it's going in every single month. I get that email notification that my investments have been made, and I just kind of go about my day.